scaling one business is hard. Scaling 21 businesses, I'm sure is even harder, right? So how did you get into the buying of assets and things like that?
So what we're doing is we're taking our AI and it's going into our software, and so for a while it's just going to live there, and it's going to be in what we call ghost mode. The option to use our excess cash flows, not to buy a second house or a yacht or a cabin, and then after that we can start partying and having some fun.
I've been to conferences and it's just like the intro to the event is going to a bar and just getting people just get trashed, and I don't really want to set the pace for an event like that. Like, how do you guys kind of help companies adapt to the systems that you guys have when you are going through that acquisition process? What is going on, guys? Lucas Jensen here, back with the Forward Thinking Podcast. Today, I got Mr. Jason Paris from Aleph Holdings, Paris Painting, Paris Roofing, and I believe 19 other portfolio companies as well. So, Jason was one of our speakers at PaintCon, and he crushed it. He brought a really cool sense of humor to the crowd. So, Jason, dude, great to see you again, man. Long time no see.
Yeah, for real. No, great to see you again. I just heard the name of your podcast, I think for the first time, Forward Thinking. That's really clever. I really like it. Right on brand with forward marking. I love it.
Yeah, dude, that's what we do, bro. We don't miss. Jason, dude. So Jason's at a gathering of all his portfolio companies. So, dude, I kind of want to pick your brain. Like, how do those typically go? Like, what do you guys usually discuss there? Is it more so like more networking, or is it more like direct business strategy? Like, what kind of goes on there?
This is really like a workshop conference. So we're not doing like a lot of like mindset, or we have socials, get people to get to know each other, but really we're focused on business planning season right now. So we're setting the business plans for 2026. That's going to go through a few recuts with the managing partner. Ultimately, we're trying to make sure that we get something we can sign off on, both parties, both the stakeholders and the management team. So this is just like a rock in the stream on the way to that. So a lot of practical things. There's some holdings wide things we'll discuss as well. So where are we going? How's the holdings performing as a whole? We have a few that are actually shareholders in our holdings. A few of those units that are shareholdings in the overall thing. And I just got out of a session where I was speaking on our custom software, which is Wallogy. Now when I say custom software, it's not like we're white labeling something that's been customized. This is full C# code from the ground up. So we had a good talk on how we're leveraging AI, how we're integrating AI in a smart way, not as a bolt-on, but through being purely data-driven. That's a little insight into what we've been doing these last couple of days.
Love it, dude. Do you mind sharing like how you guys are integrating and kind of using AI? Because I feel like AI is obviously not going anywhere, and the people that accelerate are going to be the people that use AI to their side. People that fall behind are going to be people that don't use AI. Like, AI is not going to replace anyone; it's just going to replace the people that aren't open to using it, right? So, how are you guys kind of like implementing into your companies?
Yeah, so it's got like two macro themes of how you use it. One is through a bolt-on, one is through it being like a brain that's in your organization. So the bolt-on, you're seeing this a lot in a ton of softwares where it's AI driven, and you have a chat bot on the side where you open it up and you can talk to it about what's on the screen. What we're proposing, what we're spending our cash on, is something fundamentally different, but it requires some unique elements that are hard to replicate. So with custom software, we've been able to build very data rich and data integrous
Hmm.
stockpiles, where the way that we operate the companies is uniform across every business, and it's true to form. So there's not a lot of workarounds or changes, or I'm using one software for this but another software for that. It's a true full ERP, enterprise resource platform, and that's a hard thing to do. So what we're doing is we're taking our AI and it's going into our software, our Wallogy, and so for a while it's just going to live there, and it's going to be in what we call ghost mode. So if you're familiar with LLMs, ChatGPT is basically a token prediction model. So it was really GPT for a long time, and then they specifically fine-tuned it to this chatbot, which everybody interacts with. And the best kind of way to describe that is, especially when you're doing a chat-based LLM, is just predicting the next word based off of these billions of articles that it's read. So the tokenization of the data is how we're going to implement our software. And it's if I were to say it in a very simple way, you're basically predicting the next token that happens within the sequence of a job's life cycle.
Hmm.
So whether that's in the sales process of what next step usually happens, what usual word track next happens, what's the usual next step in a job, depending on if it's sold, not sold, estimated, not estimated. What I'm most excited about, because it was my kind of baby and what I spent the last thing doing in my company, is the coordination function. So having this brain sit and observe. The first thing is it goes through, this is kind of unique what we have. We have tens of thousands of data points of how all of our companies have been coordinating these jobs in our software. So you train it first on that, and then it runs in this ghost mode where it will predict what it would do based off that data set and make its own prediction, and then show that against what has actually happened by the user. And then the next step is going to be basically surfacing a solution mode where the AI will surface a recommendation to the user, which is usually pretty helpful. In that case, they would then enact that action with much less friction, but sometimes it's not. And then you can say, no, that's not the action I'm going to take a different one. So like I'll just acknowledge I did ramble there a little bit, but that's probably the easiest way I can describe it quickly on a podcast. Fundamentally, it's going to be more of an AI brain as opposed to an AI bolt-on in our software.
Hey, real quick, before we get back into the video, if you are running a painting, an epoxy, or a concrete coating business, and you're saying to yourself right now, Lucas, I am done playing it small. Lucas, I am hungry and I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to scale my business this year, then listen up. If you want my team and I to help you fix that, if you want more qualified leads into your sales pipeline, if you want more high intent appointments into your sales calendar, and if you want more high ticket jobs, shoot me a quick text at 602-833-5079, and I will personally reach out and set up a game plan to help you turn your yearly revenue into your monthly revenue and help you dominate and scale your business right now. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to helping you scale your business this year. Let's go. So do you have like an example of like how one of your portfolio companies would use that?
Yeah, so I'd say the practical ways would be in the coordination role, where maybe you want to double your business, and instead of doubling your office size, you're able to stay the same because the friction and the amount of sorting and scanning that's required to complete all the tasks in that coordination role are now surfaced to you through an AI brain that's in the software. Another example we were talking through is estimating. So estimating is not something that's largely uniform in the industry currently, but the way that we do estimating is very metric based. We have 21 companies that are some of the largest companies in the nation, if you look at it, and they're all estimating the same way. And so for our ability to use that data set to now take basically three elements, we can take a picture of the front of the house, say, and then you have the basic parameters of the scope, maybe a one sentence description from the estimator, and the software can now surface you an estimate completed with the 96%. Then maybe you have to customize some unique things from there. Those would be two practical ways. I mean, I could get deep in the weeds with you about the ability to forecast and predict the needs of the business in the next quarter, the next week, the next month, or even the next year. We have like a fractional COO or fractional oxes, we call them, that pop around to the different companies. And the ability for the AI to look at the business, surface the highest impact needs of the business, and make the most out of that coaching session is only possible when you have a very data-rich ERP that surfaces all levels of the business. But those are like a handful of the practical examples I'd give.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was going to ask that because a company that you have in Seattle is going to be significantly different than the pricing model you have one in Florida, right? Because maybe the competitiveness, whatever.
For
So
pricing, yeah. So for price, sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I get so excited about this stuff though. So you're right. The charge rate could be a little different, but the metrics would stay the same.
okay,
Right. So you have those differences where you have square footage of siding, linear footage of so there's square footage, linear footage on an item count. So square footage are things like siding, linear footage would be things like soffits, and item count would be doors, windows, safety conditions, things like that. And so while the charge rate may be different, the underlying metrics get translated to hours, which then can get translated to dollars. So it would be surfacing the hours, and then every company has the ability to customize their estimate builder with their own unique rates, both on the labor side and then on the material side. But that kind of wrapper of a price is covering over a core of human hours and labor materials.
interesting, very interesting.
Sorry, labor hours and material gallons.
And how do you find, because obviously adapting and bringing into a new CRM, like when you acquire a company and kind of implement your systems, the adaptability of your systems into their companies could be like, you could have like drop-offs there, right? So how do you guys kind of help companies adapt to the systems that you guys have when you are going through that acquisition process?
Yeah, well, we pay people money to do those things,
Yeah.
but also in business, if it was as easy as paying people money to do things, there would be a lot of people who'd be business owners that currently are not. So I want to give you a real answer. Yeah, I think it starts with having an aligned vision. We're all set on profitability and stability at scale. And so there are a lot of ways to architect a business that is profitable, but maybe not stable. And that's probably most of the industry because there's a lot of ego involved. If you get down to the fundamental level, the founder actually wants the business to run through them when it comes heads to tails. Um, but we're focused on acquiring assets, and assets are things that have, if you remember from my talk, assets, kind of the best asset is something that secures streams of future cash flow. And that would be a profitable company that is stable, that can do that at scale. So we have that aligned buy-in, which helps. And then from there, we have a pretty tried and true method of onboarding. Um, I honestly think the biggest true answer I can give to you on that would be buy-in. So like a good example would be, our ability to estimate a house currently may not be as polished as another product, right? Another product may be able to estimate really well, but it's really the power of the full ERP and having all of your data in one centralized source. And I've always believed in that. I think there's a lot of synergy and a lot of power to that because you can surface reports, you can really find the core needs of the business. In this new kind of advent of how do you use AI in a productive way, AI has been a big disillusion so far if you've been following most of it. But to use AI in a productive way, you can really supercharge that with the way that we're capturing the data, and that's part of the buy-in currently.
Love it, dude. Love
Does
it.
that answer your question?
Yeah, it
I
does.
don't know
It
if you're
does.
looking for a tactical answer. I mean, there's the practicality of onboarding, but a lot of times when you change softwares from your system, there's always changes. There's always drop off. There's always friction. There's um, opportunity cost. There's just the cost of adjustment.
Mhm.
Um, there's probably a great metaphor, but it's like anything in life. Um, it's a lot of hard work to move from one town to another. But that new town may have a lot more opportunity for you and your family. The house is better, but you still have to go through that pain. And whether it's a good transition or not, I think truly comes down to, are you bought into it? Do you agree on the vision?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that like, I don't know your business model too well, or like the companies you work with too well,
Yeah.
but I can only imagine like companies that are looking to kind of have like fractional acquisition of their company are bought in compared to someone who's just looking for like 100
Sure. Yeah.
acquisition
Yeah.
of their company, right? So they're
Yeah.
still bought in. They just are giving a piece of the pie to get that substantial growth that you guys do. Um, but dude, I want to, for everyone that hasn't had the privilege of meeting you, I just want to kind of have you introduce yourself, explain what it is exactly you do, and then we'll kind of get into the nitty gritties.
I'd be happy to. I do have to give a shout out to your event that I went to last week. Something I loved about it is so many people didn't know who I was. And part of that is just it's a different crowd. But I think part of it, like a lot of people there, that was the first event they've ever been to in the painting industry, um, which was super fun for me because I feel like some of my jokes are really old, but to a lot of people they were new. And I had a lot of fun, sometimes tearing down that fourth wall in the presentation. So who I am in a nutshell. So I am started out as a painting contractor. I painted my way through college. I did a program called College Pro Painters, which has had a proliferation of impact on the industry, no longer operates anymore. Then went to Fortune 500 land, did that for 13 months, came back to painting the long story short, had a classic conversation with my wife. I could grind this out for another 40 years. Or what if I did something after getting a taste of entrepreneurship in college? She said, go for it. Blew that company up, scaled it. A couple of my friends from college, I was able to convince them to leave their corporate jobs and come join a painting company. This is around that 2017, 2018 timeline before it became cool. We started a holdings company, sold portions of Paris Painting into this new holdings company called Olive Holdings. We then used the cash flows. We started developing real estate. So we bought a bunch of land in mostly southern Minnesota, outstate Minnesota, bought the land, developed it, built apartments, and then started to acquire equity in other painting companies. So we come in at a minimum tranche of 45%, become part equity partners. So we're now tied into the profitability of the company. We believe that really aligns the incentives, and then are mutually incentivized to both scale it and have it be stable while delivering a good net profit. But that's kind of in a nutshell what we do. Ferris Painting is a $17 million top line painting company, produced this year's at good, healthy, mid upper teen margins. We have 72 million produced this year within our holdings, and that would only include the revenues of companies we acquired mid-year, for that portion that where we are partners. So if we acquire with a $3 million company in October, we'll only participate, in less than $1 million of that revenue. Um, that's in a nutshell. I have 5 kids. I've been married for 14 years. I have my pilot's license. I love doing ultra marathon events. I got into the tier just under Grandmaster in StarCraft in Q1 this year. So epic video gamer. That's probably me in like a condensed nutshell.
Love that, dude. Love that. And how big's the team? Like including like or just like on leadership
Yeah.
standpoint or like
Yeah, there's like 30 or 40 people in the office on a
okay.
typical day. Um, I'm not in the office as much anymore, so I don't have currently an active role where I'm earning an income. My lifestyle is funded through distributions from the real estate, from the painting company, and from the holdings. But when I do come in the office, I like to run around and tell people it's a great day to have a great day, and it's another day in paradise.
I love it.
They have to laugh at both of those jokes,
Otherwise they're out.
unfortunately.
I love that, man. So you got into real estate before you blew this up, right? Like I know real estate's like
Yeah, we were probably yeah, it was a good way, and I would just give all the credit to my partner Chet. He's the one that really spearheaded the real estate. And like anything in life, it takes a few swings before you land some. So I remember going to the Northwest Outstate Metro with him. We were kind of pitching development deals, and everyone from the town would come in and they'd complain that they don't want apartments built, and they'd say some racist things about who they think the tenants are going to be, and we'd have to be Nancy, calm down. I know you're a product of your generation, but you cannot say that. Eventually we had some success. And so I would give Chad all the credit for that, but it was a great way to use the excess cash flows. So our talk I gave was freeing yourself from the shackles of mammon in our conversation at your event. But just the practical application of investing in assets before you can start buying fund liabilities in life. That's something that Chet and I are really aligned with. And then all the other partners we've taken on in all holdings were aligned with as well, which gave us the option to use our excess cash flows, not to buy a second house or a yacht or a cabin, but to start investing in these things that produce equity and future cash flows, at least for a decade. And then after that, we can start partying and having some fun.
I love that, dude. And did for the apartments, did you buy them and sell them or did you buy them and
Buy and hold. Yeah, I'm open to selling any asset I own. I just have to get a really good return. But the hard part is when you have a really robust and productive management team, the security and the consistency, the security, and the upside future of those cash flows are a hard thing to replace with a one-time purchase, especially when you end up paying taxes and have to now replace that with a new investment. You
Yeah.
gotta do the ultimate challenge is, let's say I have $1 million of equity in an apartment. Great, somebody buys me out. Now I have $1 million minus 30%. And so, and now I have $700,000. And now I have to find an asset that I need to purchase to replace the return that I had on that apartment. And with real estate, I would have to replace my cash flow. I have to replace my appreciation, my debt pay down, and then the depreciation. And for me, depreciation is pretty meaningful. Not because I'm a real estate professional, certified real estate professional like my partner Chet, so he can use those depreciations against his active gains. I can only use it against my non-active gains. But the fortunate part about my lifestyle right now is that I have a lot of passive gains. I am not an active participant in Paris painting. That is classified as passive income. Had a conversation with my accountant. He said two things. One, what is hobby horsing? And why are you posting these videos on your Instagram? Two, yes, you can qualify that as passive income because it's clear you're not working.
Well, dude, I think the hobby horsing was pretty cool, man. I saw you doing jumps and 360s and stuff.
I do not mess around with hobby horsing.
Dude,
when I
no one
made
heard you, man.
when I made those videos, my kids were up on the deck and they're like, "What is Daddy doing? What is this real?"
Daddy's making history. That's what he's doing. He's respecting the craft.
Hey, yeah. I forget what phrases I was using when I was doing those videos. Like ride to breathe them or something. Yeah.
Dude, I love it, man. But hey, I'm curious. So obviously, scaling one business is hard, right?
Yeah.
Scaling 21 businesses, I'm sure is even harder, right? So how did you get into the buying of assets and things like that, right? Because most businesses,
Yeah.
it's usually owner operator,
Yep.
right? So they're in the business and it's technically not an asset until they fully get out and it's passive income.
Right.
But
It's a supercharged job.
yeah, so like how did you did you have a mentor that kind of coached you through this? Or like how did you fully get into that? Hey, real quick, before we get back into the video, if you are running a painting, an epoxy, or a concrete coating business and you're saying to yourself right now, Lucas, I am done playing it small. Lucas, I am hungry and I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to scale my business this year, then listen up. If you want my team and I to help you fix that, if you want more qualified leads into your sales pipeline, if you want more high intent appointments into your sales calendar, and if you want more high ticket jobs, shoot me a quick text at 602-833-5079 and I will personally reach out and set up a game plan to help you turn your yearly revenue into your monthly revenue and help you dominate and scale your business right now. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to helping you scale your business this year. Let's go.
I would have to give my business partners all the credit in that. So I think a lot of success in life comes with who you surround yourself with. I have an amazing wife. I have amazing business partners. I kind of joke, but I just kind of like float around in the successful life because I surrounded myself with just amazing people. And it really was just the ethos of the team. So to do anything truly great, you can't do it on your own. You have to have a team of people that want to do it with you. And a lot of time, the direction you take, you can influence that as a leader, but it really comes down to what does your team want? And that was something that we all wanted together. The question ultimately became, we can sell, portions or large portions of Paris Painting into Olive Holdings. And now I've got 5 partners in Paris Painting because there's 5 partners in Olive Holdings. There's 5 of us that own roughly 20% equity. And we can continue to grow Paris Painting for our own benefits. Or we could take what we've done and start to buy equity in other paint companies and maybe help other people start to grow some assets in their businesses. And I would just give full credit to the team that they were very outward minded in that. So we've all ran through the scenarios of, let's say I'm 50 years old, I have $30 million in the bank account. What would I do? It's like, well, I probably want to go back to when I was 40, had a little more energy, and I just wanted to help others learn how to get free from mammon. So I just keep coming back to that. That's a core passion statement. It's the purpose of Olive Holdings, to help people shed the shackles of mammon so they can live an abundant life. We could work really hard and serve ourselves and make a lot of money, or we could, while we're young, while we have some energy, while we're still really good at business, we could live that mission statement, not through charitable donations, but through our active work. And the kicker is, I think the team will make more equity and more money in the long run by doing what they're passionate about.
Mm. And how come you want to go on the like holding company side instead of like franchise model?
I think a lot of it comes down to there's just like the purpose and the mission. So I just fundamentally believe that franchising shackles people with mammon. I think it's a broken model. It's not going anywhere soon, especially because the lifeblood of it is a consistent stream of burnt out mid-level managers who get sold on the prospect of owning their own business and being their own boss, and sometimes repeatability of painting. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. But I just would say the team would not be convinced that they should be doing that day after day. So most of our executive team came from franchising. Most of them were former presidents of either College Pro or Paint 360 or some other organization. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like this, but at some point you kind of look yourself in the mirror and ask, what am I doing? There's only so much unit turnover or so much challenging performance of what you see with people. And part of it, not to harp on that model too bad, part of it's just what you're passionate about. So we are passionate about democratizing the equity in the painting industry, bringing people from mammon. And I just think that's a fundamental alignment challenge in the franchising model.
Interesting. And let me ask you, because I've met some of your team, and I think your team's badass, dude. I think you got great people on
I
your
put
team.
them toe to toe with anyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah. You got
they would all be very successful on their own. We've decided to come together.
exactly, and great people are typically not cheap, and a lot of people are looking to hire like, increase their profit by bringing in cheaper labor for the kind of fulfillment, like the cost of goods sold. I think you go more on the counterpart of you bring on great people to help run great businesses, and that's like, do you know who Alex Ramosi is?
Yep. Yeah.
That's kind of like what he does. Like I know some of his employees make over 7 figures a year on salary. So how come you don't do more, but you give your current team more to do that? Like why do you take that approach?
Can you rephrase it? Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so to get the job done, you can either increase the overall labor and overall manpower,
Yep.
or you can get just some people that are more specialized and they're more expensive to do more. Like, why are you going to like give your team more to do the same thing as hiring more for less? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good question. I want to give you a real answer. So the stock answer would be like, um, it's more enjoyable to do life that way. So it's more enjoyable to surround yourself with rock stars than to surround yourself with low performers, and they both get the job. Whether you have 5 low performers or 2 rock stars, they both get the job done. The process. I just don't know if I've gone through that intentional design thought before, so I don't want to BS you on it. I would also just say it's somewhat. I don't know if this is a question you're asking, but for the companies that we partner with, a lot of it is just a design decision based off what the executive team is good at. I'll kind of phrase this another way. The reason we don't do a franchising model where you have 1,000 different units is one, we just couldn't do it and look ourselves in the mirror. But partially, this team is really, really good at scaling companies that have a foundation, right? So we take companies, they typically need to have revenues of, at least $2 million, the foundations of a team, being a rockstar owner, right? Someone that we can see building around for a couple of years at least. Um, that's just foundationally different than a startup. And so if your team was really, really good at startups and getting to like a mid-level role or mid-level company, um, that'd be a certain decision tree you could go down. Our executive team is just really, really good at scaling companies and turning them into stable assets. Um, I don't think that's the question you asked. Now that I'm thinking through this, that's kind of what we recruit for in our partner companies. As far as our executive team, though, I don't know if I have been intentional about it. I think it's just happened. I think it's that I would just say, I think I'm a high performer. I think I have good values. I think the people I've partnered with are extremely competent. I think we just attract people like that. So I don't know if I could give us a ton of credit. I think it's just who we are, and a lot of like the path we've walked is based off of design.
Interesting. Who are some like mentors that you look up to?
Um, hmm. I would say Jesus Christ would be my number one. So Bible, that's the book for me. It's probably the person I spend the most time with, day in and day out. I mean, I like my team and I like myself right now, and that's pretty cocky to say. But I like what we're doing, and I would just say in the painting space, there's not really anybody I'm really looking up to. I would say there's a group called Nolan Consulting,
Yep.
and that is like the one group of boomers where I'm like, hey, it'd be cool if I'm like them
Mm.
someday. Like outside of that, there's not a lot of boomers in the painting space that are like admirable for me to look up to.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote a post about your event the other day, and I would just say the industry is changing. A big part of that is what do people aspire to, and that's definitely not lasting very long. This idea of like low performance, low expectations. Um, millennials and Xers have come in and shifted things a little bit. I think this new generation, a lot of what you're influencing, their aspirations are so much higher. Their expectations for themselves are so much higher. That's not going to be the case for long. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have a great answer for mentorship. I had a mentor for a while. I met with him every other week for about 8 years. Um, then he went to prison, and I talked to him every week on the phone. He just got
Nice.
out. He
Pen
just got
pals?
out.
Yeah.
He would call me collect call, or however it was. I'd get a voice message thing, and then I'd have to accept it. So I still appreciate my relationship with him. I would not call him a mentor, just to shoot you straight. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Fair enough. And how did PaintCon compare to other events that you've been to in the painting industry?
Yeah, it definitely had its unique flavor and a unique wrapper. So the biggest changes were a lot of new people, a lot of young people, a lot of high aspiration and energy. People had really high expectations for what they wanted to accomplish. Um, so a lot less like coasting is maybe one way I would put it. I I I I say these things, and I hope the one I'm about to say, I hope you don't take it too critically. It was very like hype bro, yelling, fist pumping. Like we did a workout in the parking lot to kick the conference out. And I don't think say that as a bad way. I would just encourage like own it. That's the event. It is what it is. So that is just very different. A lot of painters are, hardworking tradesmen from the Midwest, and they are not very braggadocious at all. And your event was very like, let's go, fire it up.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well,
that was a unique part of the conference that I just haven't seen in the painting industry.
because, dude, I've been to conferences and it's just like the intro to the event is going to a bar and just getting people just get trashed and say stupid stuff and do dumb stuff. And I'm like, I don't really want to set the pace for an event like that. Like I want people to feel good about themselves. And when you work out, you have natural chemicals released, serotonin, dopamine, all that stuff is released, right? So it's like you feel good before the event. Plus everybody after that was just gassed. And they just go back and sleep and they show up recovered for day one, right? Which is where they get the
That's
learnings
smart.
from.
That's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun with it. I did think parts of it were a little silly. So like I'll just say Andy Elliott does a great. So it was co-hosted with Andy Elliott for those who don't know, and his group. Am I saying that right? It was basically a co-hosted. partnership
Yeah, like we hosted our event at his office.
at his
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
Um, so there was a video. So just so you know, I went home and I watched probably 6 hours of Andy Elliott content since I got back from the conference. So I got pretty jacked up. I got
I
pretty
love it.
excited about the whole thing. Um, there was a time he was speaking, I think in Canada, and he said like my shorts are ridiculous. The word he used, he said my shorts are ridiculous, but they're memorable and they get people's attention
Mhm.
and they create haters. And so what he talked about was basically I could dress normal and impact this many people, or I could dress ridiculous and impact this many people. The trade-off, he has people that are haters, but he's able to impact a lot more people. He's chosen to make that trade-off. Um, I actually loved it. So I got on stage. I wore my running shorts, shorts, because I wanted to get into it. I did my presentation today in the same outfit as your conference because I was so hyped up.
Let's
Um,
go.
and I went home and I showed my kids some of Andy Elliott clips to just explain to them what I was doing. And I just be honest, I brought a lot more intensity and passion to like my day to day. And I'm a pretty introverted, analytical, philosophical guy, but I do see the value in bringing some passion here and there. So I got a kickstart of passion, which was fun.
Yeah, dude, I love that, man. And yeah, I was at that when he came to Canada. He was in Montreal for a real
Okay.
estate event, and I was there with him. He's super cool. His family's super cool. They pulled us backstage, and we were there. But something that he does and it instills in his team is like how can you be memorable, right? So his videographer films him
Yeah,
shirtless, which is
yeah.
like you're like
He pulled him
so
up on
weird.
stage in that. Yeah, he pulled him up on stage. Yeah.
Exactly, but it's memorable because 'cause you're like, "Oh, that's the guy that filmed shirtless," right? And it
Yeah.
gets people talking, you know what I mean? I've kind of instilled that, like, if you, like, see any ads, people are like, "Oh, why his ankles showing? Why his
Yep.
pants are too
Yep.
short?" Or
Yep.
whatever,
Your
whatever.
shoelace. Yep.
It's like, dude, you could either take that as an insult or you can freaking use that as engagement and reach more people,
It's
and
a little. It's like sometimes it's good. I think I did this when I started the presentation. I was like, it's good to pull down the fourth wall every now and then to just so that you're not taking yourself too seriously. Uh, just be like, yeah, this is like, just so you know, I'm putting on a little bit of a show, but there's a method to the madness here.
Mhm.
And like, especially that a lot of people, I would say a lot of people in the painting industry, like a lot of people who are just Midwest hard workers, they don't like that. Um, but I can like at least respect, and I've adopted it somewhat, so it's just I do like it. I can at least respect this idea of I could play it safe, and here's what I would do. I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm gonna play it not safe. I'm gonna take on that cost of the haters because I'm gonna do more of what I'm really passionate about.
Mm.
Um, I can respect that, and I do. I kind of get in that stream a little bit too.
Yeah, and dude, I think at one point too, like you have to be a level of polarizing in order to really reach a lot of people. Like there's like mediocrity and being average, right? And then there's you got to push to be polarizing and kind of embrace that. And I mean, you blow up because of that, right?
I would say the caveat would be if you are truly passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
So like if you are like, I'm gonna do this, it's a way to make a living, or whatever you are up to, if it's not even a financial gain. Um, yeah. Or you can go like hard, 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 knowing that's gonna rub people some of the wrong way, but you're gonna make more of an impact. I think there's a benefit to that. I personally am like slanting more towards that. And this is kind of jogging my memory a little bit. When I first got into the painting industry space, back when you were probably in high school, I had a curly mustache because I was like this ethereal, like, what is it? People were calling me the Elon Musk of painting. And I had a curly Q mustache. Every morning I'd wax it and I would hair dry it. And so it was a little bit of a shtick, right? Now it wasn't ankle socks, no socks, ankle high capris with Gucci belts and things. But at the same time, there was like an acting that was going on. There was like a little bit of a um, showmanship, you
Mm.
could call it. And yeah, maybe that's just a good thing to acknowledge is like going hard. So first of all, going hard and being an outlier has a unique flavor to it. There's also some benefit from a little bit of showmanship. But the showmanship is it draws a certain type of person that can repel somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd say specifically like with your event, it draws people who are hungry and aspirational and young for the most part, people who haven't been to any other industry event. And then I hope you're self-aware enough to know it repels a lot of people too.
It does. Yeah, dude.
There's a lot of
100%.
haters online who are, I got a lot of DMs saying, why would you go to an event like that? Are you crazy? And I was like, well, like I actually, first of all, everyone deserves to be reached. So I think I can bring a good message and talk through it. Second of all, it's like, there is a little bit of showmanship, and if it's not your flavor, don't go buy it. Right?
Yep.
Not everybody's going to go to Chick-fil-A. But people are very clear, and they understand what Chick-fil-A stands for.
Hmm.
Not everybody's going to go to whatever. That was actually the best example I could give.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, the purpose of business is to deliver a clear message, and you get to a certain point where you want to work with people that you align with, right? And I love
Be
working.
authentic, 100%.
Exactly, being authentic, and I'm trying to like build my like posse of just like
Yeah.
hungry business owners that just want growth and they're betting on
People
themselves
are
and
going to
trying to
best
develop.
follow you when you're authentic to yourself. If you
Exactly.
have this cognitive dissonance, like I thought that you did a really good job on the conference. At one point, you were calling out like I used to love like a dis- dysfunctional flavor of what I am. Like you're saying, like I used to be like the frat boy with the cutoff shirts, and I was drinking,
Hmm.
and now I've reharnessed that energy to be productive and help people through my business and put on these conferences. The thing is, there's a through line on both of those things that it's just people can't get past that.
Exactly.
Like when you were, and now just, and hopefully you don't take this the wrong way, but you said it yourself. You were like, you were a drunk frat boy. Uh, there was a part of you that was like authentically who you are, and you found a way to express that, and you were expressing it in an unhealthy way, arguably, and now I think you're expressing it in a very healthy way.
One thousand
And
percent.
part of it is like you're a motivator. You want to get people to be aspirational. Um, I think those are like the core themes of what I would put as like your brand and even your event brand. Um, and people can assume that core has like it does have a similar wrapper to things that people are they push back against. Same thing with my messages, right? When I give messages and I talk about things, there's a dysfunctional way for me to live out my core. There's also a functional way to live off my core, and people sometimes conflate the two. And they assume because of my core, which is transparent through the wrapper, that I'm going to be dysfunctional, and it turns them off.
Exactly. And the same thing happens with like culture and business, right? If you have your core values and you have your culture, it'll repel the people that you don't want in your culture and it'll bring forward the people that you do, right? So, yeah, dude, I think I genuinely like I've been to a lot of events and I'm just not trying to like just like blow smoke, but I personally believe that that was one of the most impactful events and I'm still just blown away with like the level of feedback from it. Like
Yeah, and I
everyone,
think something to take into stock too. This was your second one, and you're 25 years old.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is, that's pretty wild. So yeah, kudos on a good event. I enjoyed it,
Thank you, man. Thank you. You're gonna be back next year?
dude. I will just tell you if there's one event I'm okay. I spent so much time thinking through what my next speech would be at PaintCon. It's gonna be hard not to. That being said, I feel like I do need to take a break from events. So I don't know. I felt like I have not been as high impact as I used to be at events because I'm the same old. But there were so many new people at your event. That'd be the one caveat. So I told my wife and my kids, I'm like, I think I'm gonna just do, and my business partners, I'm like, I'm just gonna do less events next year. I'm getting burnt out of them. I don't know if the impact is still there. Um, but man, it'd be hard. Send me once you line up the dates, send them to me. My family calendar would trump all. I'm gonna try and get into Moab next year again. So if it's gonna be like a week or two earlier, it wouldn't work out. Um, it would be hard to. I would be hard. It's the only event that I'm like leaning towards as a yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I love that, man.
If
And
you'll have me back,
definitely, dude.
if
Yeah,
you
you
would.
crushed it, bro. You crushed it. So we sent like the feedback surveys just so like we can always just improve and stay ahead of everything of just like what did you think and whatever. Dude, we've had so far 50 inputs.
Yeah.
We just sent it this morning and the
Oh, that's right.
average
I got the text. I got to fill it out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So the average rating so far was 4.87 on
Cool.
5.
Good.
And a lot of people mentioned you and your speech, dude. So they're like you bring a cool like business
Yeah.
aspect, but also like a cool sense of humor to it as well.
Good.
And I'm just like, yeah. So it was awesome, dude. It was awesome having you out there. But what I love too is like my team came back and they're not painters by any choice, but
Mhm.
just like the environment and everything just has them thinking bigger. Like Sam, who's our director of sales, was like, dude, we're gonna do this, we're gonna build this out. You know what I mean? Like we built like accountability groups between us. Like it was super cool, dude. Like even like my team, even myself, like we got impacted a lot too. So I wanna talk about like, in business, right? Even in our business, the companies we work with, we have a high success rate, but you can't succeed with every single person, right? Just like every employee you bring into your company, not everyone's going to stick around for the long haul for 10 years and whatever. So like what does success typically look like for a company that's looking to partner with Olive? Hey, real quick, before we get back into the video, if you are running a painting, an epoxy, or a concrete coating business, and you're saying to yourself right now, Lucas, I am done playing it small. Lucas, I am hungry and I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to scale my business this year, then listen up. If you want my team and I to help you fix that, if you want more qualified leads into your sales pipeline, if you want more high intent appointments into your sales calendar, and if you want more high ticket jobs, shoot me a quick text at 602 833 5079, and I will personally reach out and set up a game plan to help you turn your yearly revenue into your monthly revenue and help you dominate and scale your business right now. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to helping you scale your business this year. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, we're in it for decades. So the idea would be that we do partner for decades. I'd say we've gotten very refined in who we take on over the last 3 years. The first year, the first year, it was kind of like we were learning a lot. Actually, I'd say we were more than learning a lot. Our entire thesis was probably wrong. We did think that we were great at partnering with small companies and then participating in the growth. You think from an equity side, this is the best decision you can make. Buy a company when it's small, participate in the massive growth, and then have this big value add on your own balance sheet. I just think fundamentally we don't have a team that's good at that. There's one person who's like a true like founder startup guy,
Mhm.
and he's not really involved that much in the day to day. We are phenomenally world class at taking a company that has the beginnings, the foundational elements are there, and helping them fully stabilize and scale with profitability. Team is exceptional at that. Um, so now the companies that we partner with, we're very locked in how we're going to do this well. It's not a great deal today if any of these partnerships don't work out now that we're at this stage. So when we partner with a company, they should have the beginnings going. We're going to scale together. We've partnered equity together. Um, our goal is to do this for decades down the road, and that's what the plan is. We'll see if it all lines out, but I assume that there will be some drop off here and there. We're going to try and keep it very minimal because they're honestly they're big relational investments as well.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing is I have an executive team that came from the world of franchising who's used to that churn and burn mentality. A big reason why they came to join Off Holdings is we just fundamentally believe that model is broken, and it's just hard for them to look themselves in the mirror and do that. So it would be a big systemic issue if we had any real turnover in this organization.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And like when a company joins you, like what's the average revenue mark they join at?
I'll just shoot you straight. It's been so different year over year over year because
Yeah.
we're pretty new at this. Now we're like, you need to have revenues of at least $2 million,
Mhm.
the foundations of a team beginning. And I have to believe in you personally that like, you're someone I can run with for a few years. You can't be looking to get passive in the next like 2 years and looking for an easy out. We're not here to buy your company and you get out of there and now no one's running the ship. Now, all three of those don't have to be perfect, perfect to a T. There is the opportunity to make some exceptions, but they'd have to be an exception. There's got to be a compelling reason to make an exception. Right? So maybe you have an exceptional team. We really believe in the driver, but the revenues are a little shy. Right? And we say like, well, why do we have that revenue mark? It's because of this, and we feel like it's overcome over here. Or maybe you have, a large company, not much of a team, but really believe in the people that are driving it currently. It's like, okay, well, usually we don't, but because the revenue's there, I think we can really afford to hire that next layer of management. And we can do a really rock solid job of designing the ERPs or the ARPs, the annual reward planners, integrating the software, stabilizing this thing up, and now we can scale that together. So that's just me being transparent. We're a younger holdings company, not like we've been doing it for 20 years. I can tell you this is what it looks like every single year. I can just give you, here's the latest version as we've gotten sharper and sharper at what we're really good at.
Love that, dude. And what about in terms of like mindset? Like when companies partner with you guys, like
Yep.
where's the owner and operator typically at in their mind? Like, is it more like of a burnout decision? Is it more of like I'm hungry, I'm looking to grow, I need these systems kind of mindset?
Yeah. I mean, to be just honest with you, I think there's a mixture of both. So we have a company we partnered with pretty recently from Ohio. I wouldn't say it was burnout, but it was like an awareness of they kind of fit that second example I gave. They're super profitable. They have a large business. They're north of $5 million. They're both rock stars, but they had the self-awareness to say, gosh, this profit train ends pretty quick the day that we get tired.
Mm.
And that's an issue. as a shareholder, that's an issue for them. So like the anticipation of burnout is probably the best way to describe it. If somebody's burnt out, we're not a life raft. We can't come in and place a full executive team overnight. That takes some time to do. So someone's got to be willing to be in there for at least a handful of years. And then the growth, right now everybody's very growth oriented because that's what it takes to scale to that 5, 7, $10 million mark where it can truly become an asset. We have looked at a couple acquisitions that are in that $10 million plus range. Those would be less of like explosive growth and more about stability. In that case, it's more of an owner who's saying, I don't need to scale this much higher. I just don't want it to ever, I don't want the gravy train to ever stop.
Yeah.
So I want to stabilize this. I'm a unique owner, a unique founder. It works because I'm in it day to day. If I wanted the opportunity to exit day to day, I don't want my profit distributions to make a huge hit. How do we get there? And that's where we can come along and say, I'd love to get there with you together. I'd love to put my money where my mouth is, become an equity partner. We'll share in the profits. I'm not going to take a percentage of a franchise fee or try and run you out of business and then turn over the territory. Um, that's how we've operated.
Love it, dude. And then obviously, you said it's based on percentage, right? For the kind of acquisition. Now, obviously, these guys are dealing with you a lot and your team a lot, right? So I'm just curious, but like in terms of like the core value and the culture,
Mhm.
how do each portfolio company that you have in your holding company, like how do these guys compare in terms of core values and cultures? Because they're all partnering with you. Do they have a lot of shared like core values in their companies?
I mean, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Um, Everybody's like a normal dude or a normal gal. So there are things that are like, I mean, honestly, we do it. So we have core values at all of Holdings, but
Mhm.
I'm going to shoot you straight. I think a lot of it is like we have dinner with every prospect partner, and it's kind of like, do I like this person?
Yeah.
Like, do they like us? So to be honest, a big part of it has been that there are like no fly zones and there are like fly zones. So like I'm obviously a big Christian, big believer in the Bible. Not everybody in the holdings company is, right? Not everybody is aligned to that. That's like different than like you cannot be beating your wife.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you're an abusive husband, like we're just not going to partner with you.
Yeah.
I think the best way to describe it is like, do I want to do life with this person? Because I will just there have been companies we've looked at that are very profitable, have the opportunity to scale, and we've chosen not to partner with them just because I don't want that person in my life.
Fair enough.
I'm in a financial position. I don't need the money. I don't need to make the investment. Uh, this person would be just a mental and emotional and spiritual negative in my life. And I don't need that. I'm doing this to help people. No one's worried about making their mortgage as far as our All Holdings core partnership goes. We're doing this because it's an opportunity and we're not going to, what is the point of even money? Right?
Yeah.
The point of money is to have a fulfilling life, not worth the trade-off.
Yeah. What's like the coolest case study you've seen, or like the craziest case study? Like you took a company from like X to Y and like
I
X.
mean, we did some awards last night, which were pretty cool. Eric Crawford was a pretty fun story. Just his increase in profits that he had year over year. It's hard to pick one. So we had a stat yesterday where the holdings, as a whole, we've grown 45% in revenue and 200% in profits.
Wow.
Right, and this is in 2025 in a year
Yeah.
where it's a little more challenging for the average company to grow. And the companies that are growing, they're doing it at the expense of profits. Right, they're spending too much on marketing, they're spending too much on acquisition and having a struggle. None of your clients, obviously, because you have a 17x return for media marketing.
Amen,
Um,
brother.
so there are, I mean, I could just go like even like Riggins painting, right? Riggins painting is a great example of we had some pretty dark moments where it was like I don't know if this thing is gonna last.
Mhm.
Uh, and then the ability to come in, we have our kind of we have our fractional COOs or Oxes as we call them, do some field coaching, help build the team back up, integrate the systems, and now it's a model of stability. Um, just time. I mean, people who were excited about getting from 3 to 5 million, and now we're talking about how do we get from 5 to 10. We have a couple of our partners who have now stabilized their business enough where they're looking at acquisitions in their local market. We've even had some proposals of inter-holdings acquisitions. So
Wow.
somebody's looking to really retire and phase out. Another is a high performer in that same geographical area, and how can we help facilitate an acquisition of those two brands? Um, yeah, those are the fun parts of it.
Interesting. And dude, why do you do what you do? Like, what's like Jason's why? Like, why did you
Right.
get into this? Why did you want to scale this so high? Why did you want to get into like acquisitions? Like, what's
Sure.
your
When you first get into it, I think out of practicality, right? So I started painting my way through college so I wouldn't have debt. And then, even as a young adult, it was a little, fairly survival focused, right? You always have options what you choose. And so you choose, why did you choose painting? But a lot is just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, can I provide for my family? Can we do those things? Um, then you get towards like personal fulfillment and passion following. And I just say that is our passion, right? There's a personal passion statement around conquering the fear of mammon. We feel like we can do that in Olive Holdings, help people live an abundant life. It is just something that the team is passionate about. I think that's why we've been so successful, is because they truly care about it. There's a lot of ways this team could make money. This just happens to align with our core values.
love it too? Love it, man. And is that what like gets you up in the morning, like keeps you going and pushes you?
Yeah, I'm pretty intentional and pretty thoughtful about my life design and the propaganda that I feed myself. So like my personal purpose, it would be to praise, revere, and serve God. Underneath that, I have three passion statements. There's one for me personally. I'm personally very passionate about realizing human potential. With my family, I'm very passionate about founding family legacy. And for how I impact the world, I'm very passionate about conquering the fear of mammon. So you say like, what gets you? When I think of like getting out of bed, it's like that fuel, that fire.
Mhm.
Those are the passion statements to help drive you and move you towards it.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
And what's on the next 3 years for Olive and for Jason?
Yeah. For Olive, I mean, if it's not next year, it'd be the year after we hit that nine-figure mark, right? The magical $100 million mark. And it's really up to then the next layer of leadership on what they want to accomplish. I think we're probably seeing the horizon for how long the board wants to be active and involved in the holdings. So my founding partners and I, how long we want to be doing those things, or maybe not. Right? We may want to continue to be active in those roles. But I think if you look at scale, it's really going to be about the next layer of leadership at Olive Holdings and what they want to accomplish. For me personally, I'm in a season right now where it's hard to see even 3 years out. So
Mhm.
I have 5 kids. We homeschool our kids. I'm spending a lot of time at home helping my wife homeschool. And I would say if I would give a theme of maybe in the last year and a half, it's been a lot of family time and personal development. So I spend a lot of time running. I love doing these ultra marathons. I don't know how to do that, but I didn't even talk about that in my intro. I love doing marathons. So it's a pretty time intensive hobby. I'm a pilot, so I love flying small aircraft around the upper Midwest. I enjoy that quite a bit. I have 5 kids, spend a lot of time with them. Um, but we'll see. I do life coaching. So that's purely as a passion statement. I had like 5 people at your conference come up and ask if I would do business coaching. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't need money and it would not give me life to do that. Uh, I'm just not passionate about it. If I'm gonna spend time doing something, it's really taking away from time with my family, time flying, time running, or time playing video games. And those things, like, you have to be pretty compelling for me not to do those 4 things.
Yeah.
Life coaching, this kind of catalytic life design that I enjoy doing, that fills up a little bit of my week. It's something I really enjoy.
Love that, dude.
Yeah.
And man, I think something one of my biggest takeaways was like how you run your family meetings. Like my parents were at PaintCon, and they downloaded after they got
After they got nine catted,
neon catted by you. They downloaded the
the actual PDF.
yeah, yeah, and they're going through it and want to implement that too. And I'm just like, it's really really interesting. It's a very interesting stake. And I was at Andy Elliott's conference about 1 month ago, and it was on like relationships. So Christine and I attended together, and something that they mentioned too was like if you have core values in your business, why don't you have it in your relationship and your family as well? And I love that you take like the businessy approach with the family meetings by
No,
into that.
it's oh, dude. I keep cutting you off because I get so excited. I'm so sorry about that. So sorry. So sorry. Um, but man, it just fires me up because we are so disciplined typically in our business. Like no one's allowed to really be laissez-faire in capitalism in their business. You can't just say like, oh, I want to run a company that makes money and is like good.
Mhm.
But that's how a lot of people operate, right? Until they or start working with a coach or wherever it may be, then they get very clear KPIs and rhythms and schedules and meetings. This is important. But when it comes to like your relationship with a significant other or your children, or even how you manage your estate, your relationship with others, your volunteer work, your personal fitness, your spiritual fitness, your mental fitness, a lot of times those are, we settle with the intention statements.
Hmm.
Right. So you may have an intention statement of, I really want to treat my spouse well and honor them. And I assume if I just think about it, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And we never run a business that way. I would never invest in a business that ran the way of saying, we just want to be profitable and keep growing. Like, what are your plans? Well, we're not big planners. Okay. What's the budget? We're not really big. Well, what are your KPI? Like, how many estimates are you trying to do this quarter? We don't really. And so I'm a big fan of taking that intentionality to things that matter most. For example, would be family, be spouse. And it doesn't have to be crazy things, but, um, with my spouse, I have two intention statements. One is that she would experience the love of God with how I treat her and how I honor her. And together we experience the full sacrament of Holy Covenant marriage. And you'd think that I would just do those things, right? But I don't just do those things. And so every quarter I try and think of very intentional, meaningful goals. A meaningful goal is one that aligns to your intentions, are fueled by your passions, and ultimately serves your purpose. And it could be something like every time I enter or leave her presence, I give her a 6-second kiss. You do that every time you either enter or leave the household. She gets a kiss, it's priority. And it's a way to just make sure I'm actually doing the things that I care about.
Hmm.
And that one's a cool one because when I come home, I have 5 kids. You can imagine what that's like. Daddy's home. But they get to experience, their father saying like, "Yep, I see you. I'm beelining towards my wife for the kiss," and they all know it. So it's kind of just helps solidify that she's my priority. They come second.
Yeah.
I think it's a healthy thing. I think the best way you can be a good father to your children, and you'll get there. You're 25. You're very young. Best way you can be a father to your children is to love their mom. And I'm a big believer in that.
I am too. Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. Andy and Jacqueline say the same thing too. It's like they'll respect you as a father much more if you respect their mother much more and as a husband, right? So
Yeah.
they said the same thing of like when they
You
come
know,
home,
Andy says a lot of things that I really agree with, and he raps them in this rapper that's hard for me to jive with, but that I do get excited about sometimes.
yeah.
So he said something else along this line, and I just lost it. Yeah, he said a few things where I'm like, man, he sounds like me, but he's yelling. Uh, yeah, it's kind of funny how yeah, when you look at the core and look through the rapper. But and the thing is, like, he attracts a very different person than I typically attract, right? And he kind of teaches them these fundamental things of someone that I typically wouldn't reach or have an influence on.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that.
But yeah,
Well,
family meetings, big fan of it. Um, if anybody reaches out to you and they want a family meeting, I can give you the PDF. Have you share it with them directly. I did the QR code link. I don't need your name. I don't need your email. I don't need your phone number. Just I want to. It's a fun thing. It's been cool to see that impact.
love it. Yeah, we'll put that in the link under the podcast or YouTube video wherever you're watching this. And if someone was interested in learning like how they can partner with Olive and have their company kind of
Sure.
acquired and have the systems you guys implement to help them grow, how could they kind of get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, I believe on our website, it's probably the best way, Olive Holdings with an S.com. I think it reroutes to something like Olive Ventures now. I'm not the deal flow guy anymore. So I was the main guy for a number of years. And now we have a guy that we hired that is very, very good at that. You can reach out to me directly, DM me on social media. I'll get you in touch with our due diligence team. Um, yeah, DMing me on social media is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, or just going onto the website. Either way.
Love it. So we'll put Jason's socials in the links below as well. So we'll put the family meeting template. We'll put Olive Holdings website, and we'll put Jason's socials. If you guys want to get in contact with him, I highly recommend you guys do. Jason's a great guy, and just a blessing in the industry. So Jason, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for everything. And if you can end this off with one
Mm.
point for everyone listening, if you had to do everything over from the start and build back up to the point you were, what's one sentence you would tell young Jason?
It's okay if it's hard. It's okay if it's hard. Um, there's like a meme, we don't do this because it's easy. We do it because we thought it would be easy. I think when you're a young entrepreneur, you think that maybe you're the only one it's hard for. I remember driving around in my Hyundai Elantra, and I was doing north of, even just $1 million back then. And I didn't realize that what I was doing was really cool. All I saw was everybody else had really nice big trucks, and I could only imagine how much better they were doing than I was doing better. I think my number one piece of advice would be it's okay if it's hard. It's meant to be hard. Don't feel like you're an idiot unless you actually are an idiot. then you can. Uh, but odds are it's hard because you're doing something that's really hard, and it's okay. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to feel like you're being challenged because you probably are. I wish we had more of that advice when I was a young entrepreneur. Um, I started this company before the painter internet, so we truly were on little islands back then. There's so many communities now, like yours, right? So many Facebook groups, so many ways to connect with other business owners. I'm envious of what kids get to do today, and that'd be the one thing I don't want to lose, even in the social media age. Is it's not meant to be easy. Just because it's hard for you doesn't mean that you're a failure.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time and energy. And everyone listening, thank you guys so much. Highly recommend you reach out to Jason and see what he can obviously just do for you, do for your business, and take everything else from there. So, guys, make sure to read the link below, grab all the stuff we mentioned on this call, and reach out to Jason if you guys have any questions.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Cheers.